Hi, I'm Miro. I'm a TNT champion.
This is Rachel Ellering, the Queen of Strong Smile.
I'm Eric Bischoff.
Live events, all right? When the WWE comes on the holiday tour, when they come to Ireland.
Or Davy Boy without hair braids.
As a fan with braids, as his daughter without braids.
And you
Are watching
WrestleSlam.
WrestleSlam.
And you're watching WrestleSlam.
So guys, welcome to a brand new episode of WrestleSlam, our weekly podcast. I am joined this week by the significant other, Jerry Coughlan, Phil, the one and only, Matt, what's up? And a new face for this week is Mick. Mick, what's happening?
Nothing at all, Liz. Delighted to be doing my first show with you guys, hopefully the first of a few more. None of my friends like wrestling that much, so I'm extremely excited to talk about wrestling for a change for people who don't roll their eyes when I mention it.
Yeah,
so that's great.
You're among good company for sure. It's been a bit of a mad week with wrestling this week. There's everything from, since our last podcast, so much has happened. There's been huge developments. There's been releases of the legends and some newcomers from say this year we weren't expecting. And there's been a bit of good wrestling in between it as well, but a lot of the drama has taken over the headlines. I think we're all kind of in agreement with that. It's kind of what's happening next as opposed to what's happening in the ring. There's been quite a bit of that. We'll go straight into it, guys. Releases. NXT was absolutely a rampage this week with releases. Some that, maybe we weren't as well known, but some that were pretty surprising, for sure. Bronson Reed. Phil, what you make of the NXT releases?
It was very weird because wasn't there guys fighting on 205 Live that was actually ongoing while the releases were going on? It was like we were watching Smackdown and it was like Ross Sapp, I have news, and then it was like every 2 minutes there was like another one and another one and another one. But yeah, they must be selling the company, as we were saying earlier.
I think so. I think for sure they must be getting into a more financially viable situation to sell it because they really are trimming the fat. But even with that, the people that they're trimming, we probably wouldn't have counted them as expendable. The likes of, Asher Hale, who was signed in January of this year, gone.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed, just dropped the North American title, gone. And you can tell he's devastated. Jake Atlas, today is my 5th anniversary celebrating wrestling. 2 days later, chopped, unreal. Matt, what you think?
I honestly don't know what to say with WWE at this stage. I feel like I said this in the podcast before and I'll say it again. I feel like nobody's safe in WWE. It's official. I always thought that NXT, because I was actually called out being an NXT fanboy on Twitter, so cheers, lads. But I always thought NXT was like the safe place, kind of like it was like their own company. I understand it's like meant to be a developmental stage, but really it turned into from that to an actual wrestling show. So about those releases, I feel like I'm shocked because that's what I said. It was like I always thought NXT was the place that you stay safe. If you're on the main roster, you don't know what happens. But I don't know what to make at this point with WWE in general. Like, are they actually going to go ahead and sell it? Are they actually going to keep doing? But they bring in Goldberg for absolutely no, and more part timers, which I think was kind of shitey, to be honest. But that's kind of what my opinion is. Is like I just feel like that whole situation is weird, especially with NXT. So that's what I believe. So I say I don't know where WWE is going at this stage, and it's kind of upsetting that I feel like WWE is the company we're talking shite about now, as in releases and drama. So but that's how my opinion about this is.
Yeah, for sure. And even with that as well, we all talk shit about WWE because they give us so much shit to talk about, so we can't help but throw it, But even with that, Mick, with NXT, we're big marks for NXT because, it's always seen as, the developmental brand, and if you're called up, who you're called up, but now it seems just to be like the kiss of death if you're called up. With that, Adam Cole. Right, Adam Cole is in negotiations this week, okay, and whatever's going on, whatever the wages are, whatever he's been offered, apparently he's met with Vince McMahon this week. What's your take on this whole debacle of his contract being extended by a month because nobody realized it was actually out?
That's prime WWE right there, I think. I think when you listen to Adam Cole in interviews and things like this, he comes across as quite intelligent, like, and just quite straightforward as a person. I think Adam Cole is going to use this to his advantage to leverage a better deal within WWE, because from what I hear from everyone in WWE, despite this contract thing, he's extremely well thought of in WWE by a lot of people. He's not just one of Triple H's boys, like, but he seems he's really, really well liked by a lot of people in the company. So to be honest, like, I know there's a lot of people saying like the AEW to be his girlfriend, you know, and I think a lot of people want that to happen, like, because I think all the AEW guys, all the AEW fans, just want all the best wrestlers, all the favorite guys in WWE that they see as being underused or can do better in AEW to go to AEW. But like, out of everybody on that roster, on that NXT roster, like Adam Cole is, I think he is the money on that roster. I really do think that above all others. I might be a little bit biased because I'm a huge Adam Cole fan, but I just think he's going to leverage this against WWE to say, look, I'm talking to AEW, I'm talking to maybe New Japan, Ring of Honor, whoever, and they're offer me X amount of money, and I can go there and make a lot of money and be successful, especially in AEW. I think he's going to use that to his advantage and get a better deal in WWE. Maybe he's so much to the NXT roster. Like, for a long time, he was their guy. He was, week after week, match after match. It was just 10 out of 10 all the time, you know. And I don't think that's been ignored. I definitely think he's going to use this to his advantage, get a better deal, which I hope he gets, because I think he deserves it. He's given a lot to that. He's given a lot to that brand. He's elevated that brand massively. Everyone he works with comes out even better than they did before. And my only prayer is that he doesn't go to the main roster and end up like Karrion Kross.
Oh, mate, don't mention the war. Don't mention the war.
Can we also spare a moment for poor old Bobby Fish? I mean, he was on NXT this week. I know it didn't go too well for him, like, but I just think Bobby Fish really was one of the unsung hero of Undisputed Era. I really do think he was. I think he's a phenomenal worker. You know, exactly, you're guaranteed 7 out of 10 out of him every single time. You know, super consistent, super entertaining. You know, him and Kyle O'Reilly when they're holding the tag belts, great.
And Bobby Fish Fish could fry fish. that had legs that could go. Jerry, tell me, if the likes of what Mick said there about Bobby Fish, right? Could Bobby Fish not go to the main roster and pull like a Bobby Roode, or and just be that workhorse in the background and throw him in somewhere?
I don't know. Out of the Undisputed Era, he's probably the only one that didn't really get a chance to be a single star. Like, the rest of them have, you know, Roderick Strong has been your North American champion, and Kyle O'Reilly's got his big push on main events, but Bobby Fish never got that chance to shine as a single star. Like, he was always the tag team with Kyle O'Reilly, and their excuse to him was he's too old now, and they're putting him out to pasture, like, and he's only 40, and then they're bringing Goldberg and John Cena and Edge and all these boys back in the main roster, and you know, some of them have 10 years on him, like, you know, how he can be too old. I know he's injury prone, and you know, every wrestler's injury prone if they get injured once. You know, they just never give him a chance. I don't think they ever would have given him a chance either. But it's also, if you look at some of the wrestlers that are getting released, like, and they're not even looking at, the likes of Adam Cole owns the rights to his name. Keith Lee owns the rights to his name. There's always going to be issues with people who WWE can't copyright the ownership of their name. If they go to the main roster, that's the only thing I fear for Adam Cole, is they can't sell him the way they sell other people when they come up with a name for him. Like, Adam Cole owns that copyright, so they're going to fight with him. They've been fighting. They've said it's nothing to do with Keith Lee's name, but there is an issue with his name, and he's refusing. And same with Mia Yim. She hasn't been on their main roster, even though she was supposed to make her debut at SmackDown 2 months ago. Yeah, she owns Mia Yim, like, it's her name, like, it's her copyrighted name. So, you know, where is she?
And it's surely punished. But with all the changes, they'll say with NXT, they've obviously revamped the roster, and I hate to say trim the fat, because they didn't get a chance to get fat off their rosters, let's be fair, or off their contracts. total revamp coming up for NXT. Apparently that's in the rumor mill.
It's going back to like 2012, 2013, like just all young talent, no people over 30 or something like that I was reading. No people.
Yeah, it's been in the pipeline for a while, hasn't it? How do you think that's going to go with Triple H and Shawn Michaels? Because for sure, they're not going to get a huge amount to say in this. Because you know yourself, we tend to throw all the toys out the pram, change fucking everything, nothing's working, change it all, get rid of a load of people, and it still ends up going tits up. So do you think that might cause like dissension in the ranks?
Oh yeah, 100%. See, all this started when Bruce Pritchard buried Vince McMahon NXT. I think it was last year, where he said that they weren't training him right and they weren't doing this and they weren't doing that. And then went there recently, and I think when he went there, he just was like, lads, who are half these guys? I don't know any of them.
Yeah.
What's the product? How is he supposed to know?
That's what I mean. He doesn't watch it like at all. He's not even backstage at any of the episodes or nothing. He's not even there for nothing.
No. And it's amazing how he fell back into the boys, you know, the Kevin Dunn, the Vince, and he fell right back into that clique. And again, by like admitting you don't watch the product, he just shat all over it. He really did, and just gave it no clout whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now, on the other sorry, Phil.
Guys, and then you have Pete Dunne's situation as well, which is going to be
right. Pete Dunne is posting gifts doing this.
Who owns his name as well?
Exactly. He owns his name as well. Yeah, that's another thing. But a lot of people are saying that WWE should scrap the UK thing. There's been a lot of that online.
Personally, I don't want to see that. I think it's because, you know, we had a chance to meet a few wrestlers like who was part of OTT and, you know, who came to Ireland. Now they're on the NXT UK. I kind of don't want to see them scrap because this is like a big opportunity for them. So that's kind of my personal take on it.
They're getting the viewerships is less than 10,000 a week on NXT UK.
To be honest, do you not think the circumstances are maybe, obviously the worldwide circumstances are a bit of a thing of that, because, you know, otherwise we probably would have had a few visits from NXT superstars over to NXT US.
No, I think I love it. I really love it. I love the show.
Yeah, it could be used as an excuse, you know, if they didn't want to cut the ties for that. It's like, oh, do you know, this and the pandemic and all this bollocks, which, you know, can happen. But it is a shame. On the flip side of that, Ric Flair, lads, what's going on? Poor Rick. Didn't even get a future endeavor. Not even a future endeavor.
Well, he buried their booking, so that's part of it. That's why.
Yeah, he questioned it, absolutely. Matt, as a Ric Flair fan, will say, what do you make of this situation? Do you think Ric Flair is AEW bound?
When I first saw Ric Flair being released, I thought, oh, is he part of the RKO Randy Orton club? Once you get hammered by Randy Orton, and you're
right.
I mean, I was a bit shocked, but I didn't know what WWE was doing with Ric Flair. Like, they're mainly using him for like Charlotte Flair's like storylines for like a while back. I can just see Ric Flair coming to AEW, or at least part-time, just to show his face and help like the younger crowd, like giving them advice about how to move up. Most of the time I could see him probably just chilling out in Colombia or something like that, like with all the money he made over the years with WWE. So I was like,
Fires, is it?
Yeah, I think he's got a few friends, definitely. With that though, darling, you were saying that like he has beef with the Four Horsemen, still they haven't spoken in a while. So naturally, we'd all love that little mini reunion, like, but realistically, is it going to happen?
I don't think so. Not with what Rick said was, so after his son passed away, that none of them reached out to him to condole him. Like, so, you know, you don't really forgive shit like that if they're supposed to be your friends, like, especially with Aaron Anderson. I don't know about Tully and the rest of them, like, but Aaron and Rick seemed a lot closer when they were on WWE together. They seemed they were buddies, like, but I don't know what happened. I don't know the ins and outs of it. If he does go to AEW, it'll be for Andrade and not for the Four Horsemen. And he just has to make a once-off appearance. He doesn't even have to be there weekly. He doesn't need to be Aaron or Sting and being in somebody's corner. He just needs to show up, hit somebody in the balls, go woo, and fuck off again. Like, and it'll have an impact on the internet. It'll blow up, and you know, he can go off and retire gracefully. Rick, stop wrestling, stop getting kicked in the balls,
stop impregnating Lacey Evans, you know. But I think that just Jerry's hit the nail on the head there. I think that needs closure, and then Rick can then head off on a horse into the sunset. You know, definitely think that needs closure. Quick step aside there to the strongman or the Iron Man match on NXT UK. Phenomenal, unreal. Big shout out for Jordan Devlin and Naked as well. That was something else, good showcase for them. And segue back, Dynamite Wednesday night. We had the fourth labor of Jericho. What did you think?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because Juby hasn't really wrestled in years. I was worried that he wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
I honestly
Yeah, it's very good. I really liked it. I like the fact that it's going to be Warlord as well as the next one, not just someone random from some other company again.
Yeah, true. Mick, did you catch it?
Yeah, I caught the whole show. Jericho and Juventud Guerrero match. I mean, you could definitely tell they had a long time together. It was a bit clunky at times. A few things were enjoyable about it. I mean, I really liked the top rope Judas effect. That was pretty sweet. I thought the next labor of it being Wardlow was kind of disappointing. Just because I was so up for all these labors. I loved the Nick Gage coming in, everything like that. The hardcore match, loved it. I'm not even a fan of hardcore wrestling, but I love that man. So I was, and when they announced that Juventud Guerrero is going to be the next one, I was like, geez, who's going to be the one after that? So I was thinking, I was fancy booking in. I was like, Kurt Angle's available. That would be awesome. Just guys like that, I just feel like, they built it, like AEW has done a great job of making the viewers believe that anything can happen and anyone can show up, apart from WWE. But they've done really well to kind of give the viewers that feeling, So I had that feeling going into it. It's like, who's the next labor going to be? Who's going to be, and it's going to be someone already on the roster. I was like, I don't know. I thought it was a little bit disappointing. I have no problem with Wardlow. I think maybe a little bit green, but he's always getting better. And I think Jericho's will get a great match out of it. MJF is going to be there as well, so I imagine it's going to be pretty good. But just I was hoping for a bit more of a surprise from it.
Do you think it will build it up though for who the fifth labor is? I mean, like the easy option would be that it's going to be MJF in some kind of a falls count anywhere or whatever it is. It's going to be some kind of stipulation with MJF. But if there was a total curveball, then maybe it came out or it was Punk or it was Daniel Bryan or it was one of the rumors.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. That would be cool, but I don't know. I think if it was going to be if it was Bryan or Punk, I just feel like is that not a waste of their debut? I think maybe a little bit, I think the fifth flavor is probably going to be MJF himself, right?
Yeah. Surely.
They'll have to do some sort of
be MJF, and then they'll fight again at All Out with Jericho's career on the line.
Yeah.
Could be that. I think
Jericho's leaving for a few months to do Fozzy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, MJF wins. He's gonna win because I think is Fozzy. I think the tour is booked now and everything as far as I'm aware, or it's in the process.
See you in Dublin, Fozzy.
I'm not a Fozzy fan, man. I'm not a Fozzy fan. I saw them play in Cork years and years ago. And the only reason people were there was to chant Y2J at Chris Jericho. And
they stop people chanting
it. Yeah.
If AEW finally comes to Ireland and Chris Jericho makes his entrance, Mick is going to be the only one not singing along to the Chris Jericho theme song. So
I will admit that's a tasty tune, but if you listen to their previous albums before before that one came out, I mean it's not great.
It's your atypical, but I think Judas brought a lot of eyes to it, that kind of the fact that it's just such a super over tune because of what's behind it. So I'm sure they're happy to give some kind of clout to the backing of wrestling and the exposure that it's getting from it, and the YouTube downloads, mother of God, are just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, Malakai Black squashing Cody.
Loved it.
Absolutely, I thought it was necessary. It just shows how much in high regard Malakai Black is held. Okay, and if you get a chance to listen to him on Talk as Jericho, unbelievable, great insight to his character, where it came from, and like the different stages he was going through to get it to this, and even the storytelling with the eye and now it's spreading over the face. Unbelievable. You just don't get that anymore. Tell me, Phil, how do you feel about him squashing Cody?
The perfect way to do it if Cody's gone for a few months.
Yeah.
It builds up for the full gear, I'm guessing, when he returns. But
Definitely.
the only thing I didn't like is that the big long promo he should just fecked off.
Yeah.
He didn't need it. He didn't need to pretend he was going to retire. Like, you know, it's like,
yeah.
He got squashed.
And it was longer. It was longer than the match, and it was just went on and on and on and on.
You know, who gets interviewed after they get beaten in a match? Like, you know,
totally.
Why would he come into the ring, they interview him and say, "Oh, by the way, you got beaten. How do you feel?" Like, fuck off. Like,
actually, when I saw like Cody Rhodes get an interview, I thought they were roasting WWE. You know, with one wrestler solely defeated, battered, go backstage, and an interview comes up saying, "How do you feel?" I actually honestly thought, are they roasting WWE again at this point? But
nobody will beat Mark Henry's retirement speech and squashing John Cena. Like.
Oh my God, yeah. And we were here for that salmon-colored blazer all day long. With that, but definitely for the I think you're absolutely bang on. The squash was right from, and exactly, you know, don't know about you, but sometimes in AEW, we kind of always have to have a Cody's final thought, kind of like, you know, Springer's final thought at the end of the show. It's kind of always something, and it's kind of like, you know, take care of yourself and each other. You know, it's a little bit, you know, and was it necessary at the end of that match after being squashed? No, but the squash certainly was necessary. Matt, where would you like to see Malakai Black go next? If Cody's off, who's next?
Hangman.
I can see him going after probably Nero for the TNT title. I can see, you know, that he will like constantly taunt Nero. He'll actually like do like the good old like lights going off, because at this point Nero actually does have like a good fan base behind him. So I can see him turning face, and I can see him having a good rivalry with Malakai Black. I know a lot of people won't take it seriously, two WWE guys facing each other, but they know each other at this point. So it'll be good. So I can see him. I know that's kind of bad. It's like, oh, he just defeated one of the big guys in Cody Rhodes, and now he's going after the title picture. But that's what I can see him going after, because I feel like at this point, since with the squash match with Cody, it's not like AEW is just going to drop him all of a sudden. So I can see him going after going into the title picture, definitely with the TNT title.
I could see him go that way, but I can see it. Malakai is going to be way more over than Miro is. I think people are going to get behind him after a couple of weeks. He's going to be one of the biggest faces in the company. If Hangman disappearing to be a dad for a couple of months and Cody's gone, you know, who's left besides, you know, Punk and Bryan if they come in a full-time schedule, like, you know, I think Malakai is destined to. Like,
they're trying so hard to push Christian into that role. He's advancing ages, and he's just, I mean, he's a good hand to have, but he's just not someone that people want to see in main events, I think.
He's no edge. Do you know, his return was it was no edge return. It was never going to be, because you look edge is edge, do you know what I mean? And we just, you know, but it was never going to be that. But he should, I think at this stage, he's after getting himself in massive nick, Christian has, right? But I think he needs to now be the workhorse. You know, he needs to work with other talents that are there. They need to pick his brain, and he should be that guy, you know. And I know he kind of wants that other run and stuff, but it's just, as you said, it's just not coming together for him. And I don't think they're fully invested in him, because the build hasn't been there either. You know, it was from the start, but now it's kind of like the world's longest deflating balloon, you know. That's just kind of how it's going, which is a shame. I think you're onto something definitely with Hangman. It would be great to see him face that. My only issue with Miro or others is that Malakai Black is the heel you want to cheer, because fucking awesome, right? So I think that would take Miro's heel heat maybe away, and it would actually might just again go a little bit, we're not really sure about Miro anymore. And it took a while for them to build Miro and take him out of that, you know, best friend at the wedding shit and veer him into a proper heel role now, and, you know, the almighty kind of thing that he has going on. So do you think, dear, if Miro and Malakai Black squared off, would it be bad news for Miro?
It has to be. Malakai's squashing Cody in 5 minutes. He needs to be squashing everybody in that roster in 5 minutes until he gets to a title picture, into the main title picture.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Daniel Bryan confronts him.
Well, Daniel Bryan wanted to face Aleister Black, and, you know, in WWE when the trade happened last year on the Smackdown, and, you know, Bryan called out, I can't remember who it was, but Kevin Owens and Aleister Black continued their kind of they started fighting during the roster call-ups or whatever it was, and then, you know, he was gone for 6 months. So Daniel Bryan really wanted to face him, like, so you know, he'll you know, Daniel Bryan's selfless, so he's going to put him over like easily, like no problem. Come in and beat the shit out of me, and I'll take it. But you know, what happens to Daniel Bryan after that.
I think Malakai Black should take out Paige if he's going to be gone for a few months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Take
give us
everybody
a
out.
reason.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Surely, I think that surely it's going to be the next. I think it's surely going to be Alistair Black's who? Malakai Black's next. I think it makes more sense for him to go against Hangman next, just before Hangman goes away for a while.
Mhm.
Just to build, like, I know that I know Alistair Black, bloody hell. Tommy End is. I know people want to cheer him really badly. But I think you find that with a lot of people who debut early on in the AEW, everyone wants to cheer him. It's like, oh my God, wrestlers there or whatever. Like, you know, you can see that with Miro, and now Miro's way more on the heel side. I think he's connecting more as a heel now to the crowd a little bit more nowadays. But I think it would be a good idea to have Malakai Black become a super heel. I think the best way to do that is to kill the most over guy in the company, which would probably be Hangman and Page.
100%.
And the Dark Order. You know,
and the Dark Order, yeah.
He's too dark for the Dark Order, like.
Yeah.
Imagine him kicking the head off fucking poor John Silver. Like, he would definitely get booed for fucking a whole year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They have to give him that heel status by taking out the biggest faces. They have to, and he's destined for stardom, and they're going to shoot him to the moon, and they're just going to have to literally step on so many fingers on the way up and kick a few heads. And he's absolutely right, because that man at the moment is on fire. So we love him.
Yes.
Moving on from AEW, we'll have a little chat about Smackdown. Darling, tell me, without Roman Reigns, the Crew, Bianca and Sasha, what is there on Smackdown and Finn Balor?
Same as I always say, it's without Roman Reigns, it's got nothing else really. Like Seth and Paige is grand for SummerSlam, but once SummerSlam is over, you know, I don't know what's going to happen there. Finn Balor, I'm fucking worried now, because the way the promo went down is, it seems like Finn Balor's willing to go through John Cena to get the Roman Reigns, like, and it's like, are they just going to throw, you know, Cena and Balor in a match next week? And if Finn wins, he gets into the title match. If he loses, you know, he's in oblivion, and it's still going to be Cena and Roman Reigns. Like, I don't think they're going to have a triple threat at SummerSlam. They've done that story for Agent Daniel Bryan with Roman, so I don't see the need for it. But, you know, Finn doesn't have an opponent at SummerSlam either, which he should have. It's obviously not going to be Baron Corbin now, so what do they do with him?
Well, this is Phil, do you want to see Finn Balor and John Cena?
I would like to see the match, but I don't want to see it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Is it too different? Are the styles too different, where we have Finn Balor that we're all, you know, super invested when he gets his momentum going, and then we all know when John Cena gets we know we're getting the 5 knuckle this, we're getting you can't see me, we're getting the attitude, you know. I know, it is a bit toss potty, like, you know, so I think that we all kind of, is it too different, and will it kill John Cena's momentum that he has going, which we know is going to die very shortly?
Yeah, it needs to be one-on-one with Roman Reigns. It can't be. It just takes away from the whole thing. It just can't be. It can't be a three-way. But did, as Ger said, they did that already at WrestleMania, and it just took away from the whole thing.
It was wrong. Still not right about it. Still sour about it. Matt, Balor and Cena.
I mean, I know that I'm going to get called out because I was raging over Goldberg coming back, and I was praising John Cena coming back because the WWE fans all know who Cena was. But with Finn Balor and John Cena, to be honest, at this point, I'm more invested with Roman Reigns versus John Cena because that will rank in the good viewerships, and I know that they're both good. Stole Finn Balor's moment. I'm like, I forgot John Cena's a face, but he does shouty things as a face, and this is one of them. But when you mention just Finn Balor like getting tossed in, be interesting, but it'll feel like what's happening with my head anyway, and it'll just feel like that. It's just gonna be Roman Reigns, John Cena, and Finn Balor just in the background somewhere, like doing not much moveset. So people's gonna be more invested with John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Finn Balor's just gonna be there. It's kind of upsetting. I want to see Finn Balor being used better with the success he did on NXT. Personally, I already prefer him on NXT, but if they're just going to use him as a stepping stone, I don't know what they're going to do at this point. That's my thought.
He's in a bit of limbo at the moment, isn't he? He really is. That, like, I think, and as well, I think a lot of the WWE universe will say the IWC is still kind of like, I'd say, in the same page, that they don't really know what's going to happen. And to be honest, but like going like historically the last few months, don't think WWE knows what's going to happen. They're judging a lot probably on crowd reaction, not their own crowd reaction. Stop piping the sound. We don't need it. Stop piping Cena when Roman Reigns and Balor are having a fucking face-off. Mother of God, stop telling us how to think and forcing it down our throats. It didn't work with old Roman Reigns. It's not going to work with this feud. And come here, what supplements is Goldberg's son taking? He went to secondary school and hit fucking puberty in what, like 6 months? What happened? Like this little fellow in the ring and so proud of the audience. What happened? Lads, what happened?
I thought you just had a different son.
Oh yeah, that's what.
It was just another son. It was like, no, that was a small little chubby fella in the ring who was so proud of his dad, and all of a sudden he's like 8 foot tall and 42, owns a house. But it's just mad. With that, for SmackDown, Bianca and Sasha, look, we know Sasha's money. She comes out and she looks money, and she did as well when she came out on Friday night. But I'm happy to see that they've stopped scripting Bianca as much, that we're getting a little bit more NXT sass Bianca back, because that is where, you know, her bread and butter was. And she's given a chance. I'm hoping to get that championship run, because it's been, let's say, lackluster to say the least when they try scripting her too much, because she has everything. They just need to leave her run with it. Mick, what do you think of Bianca's champ?
Bianca's champ, like, I really like Bianca Belair. I've been a big fan of her ever since I've seen her on NXT. Mm-hmm. I love the hair whip. It's awesome. I love that for a little gimmick, you know. But she just looks like the person who's holding Sasha Banks' belt. You know, I think Sasha Banks is by far and away the biggest, like probably the biggest star in SmackDown has in that women's division. And this match they're kind of building toward between Sasha and Bianca is probably the best match they can make. I mean, no other person on that roster looks like they can be a contender, you know, maybe largely because, you know, the way it's booked. But as you said, Sasha Banks' money. The second she comes out, she looks legit. She looks like she's going to be a contender. You know, she can be gone for 6 months, come back and challenge. And it's like, yeah, that makes total sense, you know. I really want that Sasha Banks run. You know, I don't think Sasha Banks is particularly well booked as the champion itself, you know, especially around that time where it was hot potato between her and Charlotte on Raw. You remember they had all those consideration matches, you know. But yeah, I'm hoping, as much as I like Bianca Belair, as much as I'm a fan of her, you know, I can't see anything other than Sasha Banks holding the belt sooner rather than later. And it's just a case of hoping that she gets booked well for it. I know it's kind of hard. I know it's wishful thinking when it comes to WWE, but that's my hope.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And there's lots going on. So hopefully it keeps going that ways. Guys, as always, fabulous show. We could have touched on it so much more, because they're giving us a lot to talk about, but next week we'll definitely be back for it. Some massive interviews coming up this week as well, so stay tuned. Some big names in there. Can't tell you too much, but there will be some coming, so stay tuned. You can subscribe if you haven't already at YouTube at Sports Manners TV, and follow us on Twitter as well at Sports Manners TV and at Slam Wrestle. You'll find us all there, and we'll have this up soon for you all to watch. But
Matt, you wanted to say something there regarding somebody winning a gold medal last night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go on the Irish. We have and I actually mispronounced her name so many times. Kaylee Bolden, who won the gold medal. Go on the Irish. Yeah.
Harrington?
Oh, Kelly Harrington, the boxing, isn't it?
Yeah. So
that's it. Well done. Doing the country proud, lads. Unbelievable. Congratulations. Fab. So that is all from us this week, guys. Have a fantastic day, whatever you are up to. We'll catch you all soon at WrestleSlam. So it is bye from myself and Jerry, Phil, Matthew, Mick. Pleasure as always. Catch you all soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys.